Hey guys, Joey here, and I'm part of WPI's new Pokemon League. On Saturday nights we meet to play Pokemon, and some people challenge gym leaders, like me, for badges. I'm the fighting gym leader around there. We battle either using the flat battle rules on HeartGold, SoulSilver, because Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum didn't have flat battles, or we hook up to Pokemon Battle Revolution and don't look at the screen when we're choosing our teams, even though we send out full teams of 6 anyway. So a few weeks ago we had our first real tournament, which I was actually able to win, so wow. And I did manage to record a couple of battles from that, which I want to present to you guys and talk about. Now, the first one I'm going to show was only in the first round against one of the other gym leaders in the league, John. John is the water gym leader. Neither of us are using our gym teams, but overall I thought it was a pretty good match, so let's see what happened, shall we? So, leading off here, I send out my Tyranitar, Sheena, while he sends out Donut, his Donphan. Since I'm facing a ground type, obviously I'm gonna switch out Sheena for Skarmory, who's a flying type. Obviously, the Earthquake's not going to hit the flying Skarmory, so I try to taunt the Donphan and make sure that he can't set up Stealth Rock, which I was pretty sure he was going to try to do anyway. And at this point, I'm figuring I can start setting up spikes. I actually kind of forgot that Donphan would Rapid Spin, but instead he goes for Insurance, which was kind of a weird move. I don't know. Well, he has it to hit Ghost Pokemon with, but I don't know why he used it there. It's gonna be a fool's game, so he decides to switch out to his Dragonite instead, while I get up my second layer of spikes. Now, I'm expecting a fire attack to come from this Dragonite, so instead I'm going to switch out to my Suicune Katang. Yeah, I'm an Avatar The Last Airbender fan. Unfortunately, his Dragonite manages to summon Sozin's Comet to completely obliterate my Suicune. I mean, look at how much damage that does. Now, granted, Dragonite has a Life Orb, but damn. So, Suicune is basically made useless now. And since I've got a Sandstorm going, the leftovers will pretty much mean Suicune loses no health. I switch out Suicune to my Tyranitar to take whatever he tries to do next, and he opts for Extreme Speed, so I guess it was a good thing I did that, since Rock Pokemon resist normal attacks. Now wait, he probably didn't take more damage from the recoil of Life Orb. So he switches out his Dragonite. I was thinking of just trying to hit Dragonite with whatever I could, but my Tyranitar doesn't have any rock attacks. It does, however, know Crunch, which should have done a pretty good chunk to Dragonite anyway, but he sends out his Dusknoir in his place. Unfortunately for him, Dusknoir takes a ton of damage from that Crunch. So Dusknoir decides to pull back, and Empoleon steps in his place. Empoleon is actually a big powerhouse of John's gym team. So Tyranitar tries to Crunch, and actually, even though it's not a very effective attack, Crunch does a lot more damage than I thought it would to that Empoleon, so I was pretty impressed by that. However, Empoleon manages to set up an Agility. My Tyranitar is wearing a Choice Scarf, but at this point it's probably pointless since the Agility makes Empoleon faster than pretty much anything that I can send out. except for one or two things. Luckily, the Crunch is able to hit through Empoleon's Substitute, which it exhausted a quarter of its health to set up. And I don't want my Tyranitar to die just yet, so I send in Suicune for death fodder. And unfortunately, the Northern Water Tribe falls at this point. Or, I don't know, would this count as the Northern Water Tribe falling? Whatever, Suicune fainted. So, I put in my Infernape at this point. I love Infernape so much. Because Infernape's the only thing I have that has a priority move. That way I can take out Empoleon very easily without having to worry about its incredible speed at this point. Infernape's not a very tough Pokemon, but it is very powerful, so I'm gonna want to save it for later, especially since it's probably gonna die to the expected Earthquake. Maybe he was expecting me to switch in my Rotom at this point, because he used Insurance. But I put in Skarmory in its place, which doesn't take much damage from Dark attacks. Now I'm going to try taunting the Donphan again to keep Stealth Rock up, to keep his Stealth Rock from going up, but he sends in Dragonite again. Once again, I'm expecting Dragonite to use a fire attack on me, so I'm gonna switch out to my Tyranitar, since that's the best thing I've got to take special fire attacks, and this one doesn't know Fire Punch. This Dragonite I'm facing is a pure attacker. It has no non-damaging moves. It's got Draco Meteor, Fire Blast, Extreme Speed, and we'll see its fourth move in a minute. I set up Stealth Rock. Probably should have gotten that up before Dragonite switched in again, but Dragonite finishes off Sheena with an Earthquake, which is the last move that it had that I hadn't mentioned a minute ago. So yeah, my Great Special Wall has fallen. So sad. And unfortunately, I only have one thing left on my team now to really deal well with dragons, and that's my Choice Scarf Flygon here, Mountain Dew. I mean, look at those colors! Does that not remind you of Mountain Dew? So Dragonite manages to do the smart thing and land quite a bit of damage on me with Extreme Speed, while I spin out into an Outrage with Mountain Dew. So yeah, luckily I was able to take down his Dragonite, because that would have caused some problems for me if I couldn't do that. Now, Donphan's coming back out again, and unfortunately I'm locked into Outrage. And Outrage is still going to do a lot of damage, because it is a powerful attack, but Donphan's defense is pretty high. And it lives long enough to rapid spin my Stealth Rock and my 2 layers of spikes away, so they're no longer in effect. So Outrage is going to knock out Donphan, and my plan for the next turn is to switch out Flygon to get rid of the confusion that's going to come from using Outrage for too long. Unfortunately, he manages to bring out Patbat, his disturbing Duskmore. So, switching out is a bad idea because it's probably going to use Pain Split. That's why I risk another Outrage, and luckily Confusion did not bite me in the ass, and it manages to knock out his Duskmore. Yay! Unfortunately, Flygon probably can't do too much more. So John sends out his Tyranitar. It's the only Pokemon on both of our teams that we share right now. Outrage manages to do a decent amount of damage to his Tyranitar, but not enough to knock it out, and Tyranitar just ends up crunching me instead. Maybe it's supposed to be named after the green guy from Street Fighter, but little tip, John, the O should be an A. I bring out my Infernape. Not really sure how fast it is, so I might as well Mach Punch it rather than going for the close combat, because I know he still has one Pokemon left. And I'm not sure what it is, although if you didn't switch to it, it's probably nothing that can really hamper Infernape in any way. And let's see what it is. It's Bubba the Snorlax. So I've won this match, basically, because close combat is going to do a ton of damage to that Snorlax. I just realized that Infernape didn't get to use its fire attack in this match. Oh well. Doesn't matter too much, I didn't really need it. So yeah. Thanks a lot, John, for that battle. And thank you for my Flygon for taking out his Dragonite and his Dusknoir. Two great threats to my team, probably. Infernape, thank you for cleaning up. Thank you, John, for giving me a good match. And screw you, Suicune, for not doing anything in this round. Anyway, this has been Joey, and all I want is to have my peace of mind. See ya!